Hello fellow Exiles, I'm the casual PoE guy and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today I'm posting a build guide building a Split Arrow Puncture Bow Gladiator. In this video I'm going to guide you step by step through the leveling process, and we are going at the end over the endgame items. We are going over it in the POB, and I also at the end of the video will show you my first map gameplay so you can see what the build feels like. In the description below you can find several POB links where you can import this for the leveling process from level 1 to 32, from level 31 to level 55, from level 51 to 60, from level 60 to 67, and then I also included an endgame tree. So usually I put it into one, but I thought this time I will split the POBs up so you can check out my item progression in the POB. It's a little bit easier to post you the items there, so you can just see, okay, what is he using, what links is he using, what gems is he switching in, so you can just maybe follow it or get an inspiration what you can maybe do for leveling. The one we started using Split Arrow. I will show you the leveling items really quick. We were just using Split Arrow with chance to bleed and pierce. You could then switch in Mirage Archer or Onslaught or added lightning damage, added cold damage, really what you like. I think I went with the 4 link with Mirage Archer, but it's just like what you prefer. I was using an essence crafted bow, really basic, gold rim of course, basic amulet, basic stuff. The important part is the darkness enthroned with the added lightning damage to bow attacks. This is really nice. There is all the damage, and this is basically our leveling. We are using Quill Rain, Brisk Grab in level 9, or Storm Cloud. I was switching around Storm Cloud and Quill Rain, and then this is just basic leveling items. It's chance to bleed, Mirage Archer like I said, and pierce support. Then we use of course puncture with chance to bleed. Like you can see in the video, I was too lazy to fiddle in the right links, and then we are just using Victorious Flight. I will show you the marble fight real quick. It's not the fastest, but really easy. Like you can see, just kite her down. Mana is a bit of an issue, but we solved that at level 32. And this is basically the playstyle of the build, the ride from level 1. I really like these builds when you jump right into the gameplay and don't have to switch gems around all the time or gear. Or this is basically not so much as a gear switching guide. We are just using simple and cheap and few unique items, so you don't have to switch around way too much. We are mostly changing the bow. This is where your damage comes from leveling through the end game, so this is really nice. See, we switched in a Death Harp, really smart choice. Good physical damage. If you have a better bow with better physical damage, that's probably not so difficult, so I was just using this because I found this. I still will be using the gold rim until maps. This is just a quiver with add physical damage. This is what you're looking for in every gear pairs where you can get this, like the amulet. And the brisk grab is the attack speed and cold resistance, really nice. I will be using this until a long time, until I get my 5 link at 57. Thieves Torment is for the manas. This is really nice. If you don't have this, I will show you in the POB next which note you have to take to get the mana, but you will probably have to use a mana flask if you don't have Thieves Torment, and the rest is just leveling uniques. You can switch in something you like normal rare boots, or I will be using a Tome Fist at level 36, so you have much options here. Right when we get our Death Harp, we do our Ascendency, of course. You can see the damage now with the switched bow. It's always really easy. If not, you just have to run lap over and over again, and it becomes easy. But with this build, you just have to get a puncture off, and then yeah, things die. Really easy, really nice. You get these bleed sounds and this is its arrow for you. We will now go over the Ascendencies real quick. So we of course take the Gladiator. We are first taking Blood in the Eyes. This is your chance to cause bleeding and a little bit bleeding damage, and enemies are maimed and take increased physical damage, and blind with hits against bleeding enemies. This is really nice until the end game and always. Then we take Gracious Violence. This is the pop and exploding node. You have a little bit more damage and a little bit more bleeding explosions. Then we are taking the Outmatch and Outlast for frenzy and endurance charges, and then we are taking the Arena Challenger now. Okay guys, we are in the POB. At first we are going here in the duelist area, of course. We are taking just life and damage, what you want. We are next going to passing to resolute techniques. So we are taking this life here on the way, and this is our goal. Then we take more life here and more life here, more damage here and damage here. This is just what we take, damage and life. What you can see here are my items, what I was using at the time, if you want to follow this. But what I want to show you real quick is, if you don't know what support gems you should be using, you can use Paths of Building for this. I would really recommend you using Paths of Building for this kind of stuff. And you always see here on the left the damage types and the stuffs. This is just sometimes really nice to look at. But if I want to know what are my best next support gems, I can just check this out. And you see here these Awakened gems are of course not available at the moment. Decay is an intelligence gem and has just Decay DPS, not attack or anything. So this is not helping us at the moment. And this added flat damage is an average damage. But what we want, if we hover our chance to bleed, is the bleed DPS, of course. So we are taking this, and then the gems change around, and you can already see, okay, Brutality is the next best. You have your mana cost that you see here, you have the total DPS and the bleed DPS. I put this in, and then I see Vicious Projectiles becomes the next big thing. And then I can see here, okay, Maim is really nice, and I have the next gems I will be using. I will be using Deadly Alignments because of the high bleed damage. These are just up here because they give high DPS in general. But like I said, we want to get these bleed DPSs. And this is why we are using Deadly Alignments. At level 47 we are changing our bow around. I just got this basic bow, and then you see I hit 1 physical damage. So I just craft the percentage physical damage on there, and this is my next bow. This is when I switch out my Death Harp. And as you can see on the screen, I switched my quiver a little bit because of you want these physical damage nodes, and my boots for resist, but the rest is really just these leveling items, like I said. Like I said, I made several POBs, and this is the next one. You can see my progression here right now, level 31 to 51. With my items you see the bow I just crafted on screen, and this is basically how you can follow this build and the items. And like you see, I'm just taking life here. I got Resolute Technique, I got some life, a jewel node, I got this projectiles pierce an additional target. This comes really in handy, so you can switch out pierce and get a damage support gem in. I'm later going up here and just getting more life, and here are some juicy bleeding nodes, here are some nice damage nodes. This is just pretty great stuff. Let's have a look at our endgame items. We are capped and resist, and like you can see, we are still having equipped the gold rim, the crappy boots we had, and unique stuff. We changed the Thief's Torment out, and this is just a 5-link bow with a few alchemies I put on there. The gold rim will be switched out next. But I need to find some gear. You could use a drill neck or a rare quiver with adds physical. These boots you see, the belt is pretty nice, life, resist. We are using a rustic stash because of the damage. We are switching the Tom Fist out next, but I don't have something to switch out. And the rings adds physical damage on them, really important. This has increased global physical, but flat would be better, and this is really crappy, just physical damage. Let's have a look at the flasks. I'm using a jade flask. You could also go with a granite. Always using instant recovery even on low life flasks. Then the jade, of course. I will use iron reflexes later, so your evasion gets converted to armor, so you can switch around with a granite flask and craft this with more armor, of course. Then I'm using a basalt. This is just 15% additional physical damage reduction, really nice. The quartz flask, so you can phase through enemies and you have the chance to dodge attacks and hits. And the warding Quicksilver flask, really basic in your setup. I also included an endgame variant for you guys. This is just basically life and damage. You can see I still have my jewels in here, but this is just so you can have an option on what to look for and what you want. I have my items at the moment here. We are still using the things we were talking about in the video. I'm switching out the Tom Fist. Like I said, if I find something, I will be switching out the gold rim. And what you are basically looking for is the next big upgrade is your bow. The best bows are the Elder bows, Elder influenced. You probably have to craft them yourself using fossils. They're probably a little bit expensive this method. It's a corroded and jagged that you use in combination. Or you're using just alts and augments. And the important note that you want is chance for bleeding inflicted with this weapon to deal 100% more damage. This is the stuffs you need for this build, and then just the highest possible physical rolls that you can get, and probably chance to bleed and attack speed feels really nice. The next things we want to upgrade are getting an adds physical damage on everything that is available, and of course on our gloves we can get damage over time multiplier stuffs. Also on our quiver, so we want adds physical damage, damage over time multiplier, and this is basically what we are looking for in the build, and the rest is just life and maxing resists. So guys, this is basically the first part of the video, leveling process and early endgame. We will now start mapping, getting the stuffs, trying to upgrade everything as fast as we can, and then I will give you an update at probably 85 or 90, how my endgame setup really looks like, and then we are pushing for the endgame bosses. So at the end of the video you can see my first tier 1 map. I will just include this with some music so you can see how the first map felt at level 67 or 68. Thank you very much for watching. I see you guys in the next video. Be sure to check my other builds out, maybe my Toxic Rain Trickster or my Armageddon Brand Chieftain. Maybe you like those too. Until then, see you guys next time, and hearts for everybody.